all for joining us. And finally, we have a delegate from Gaborone, Botswana. And perhaps introduce yourself and, of course, tell me about the work that you do.
Right. My name is Montshiwa Montshiwai. I'm the National Coordinator for Poverty Eradication Program in Botswana. Botswana, we took poverty eradication as one of the flagship programs, and the concept was mainly coming from where we're saying being poor doesn't mean you are incapacitated. You may equally be capable, but you didn't get opportunities that could offset you to another level. So hence affirmative action, where now you specifically pick those disadvantaged and you say, how do we help them? And that's actually the basis of an entry into the business or the entrepreneurship sector. But if you look at now the strata within the poverty or the poor community, find is mainly women, and now we are seeing an aspect of young people building from intergenerational poverty. So that's why now the focus becomes mainly that. Even as with our funding, you find it's skewed towards women and young people. So that's why when we saw a conference such as this one, for us, we were like, wow, that's now an opportunity. But what exactly do we do? We identify small to medium scale business endeavors, and we do fund, being a grant, we do fund the such people who would have been identified falling within such a group. And we have seen some results. In some cases, we have had people from zero bank balance to millionaires, which is over $100,000 US.
That's a huge difference in a person. Oh wow, a huge difference in a person's life and also the community.
Yeah.
I love how you say you take people who come from poor backgrounds and make them realize that just because they are in this economic box, it doesn't mean that they don't have capacity to contribute to the economy or in society. Now I'm looking at the Africa Free Trade Agreement, and I'm curious to find out from you on how society can be part of it. Because we talk about big business, we talk about exporters and all of that. From your point of view, how can the communities that you work with be part of the Africa Free Trade Agreement? What contribution can they have?
In fact, first and foremost, we pick it from where we say every country, it takes off from that basis. If you look at countries like Venezuela, Chile, they strengthened their social development. The social development, that's where now you are moving from social protection, which is about safety nets, to where now you are developing a person, and therefore now social development, that's what takes into consideration empowerment, economic empowerment programs. But you can't export if you can't fulfill yourself. So that's why to us, we take them from that basis, and that's why they focus on the small to medium scale. But COVID may have been a disease. If it wasn't, we could be saying, wow, can we have another COVID kind of? Because that's where now this sector or segment of people, they demonstrated that anything was possible. First and foremost, they were able to contribute to the GDP of their respective countries, because now there wasn't much of the movement of the trade during the COVID, roughly the two years that we have had so far. And then you say, if they were able to produce there, was there anything that would have grown exponentially during the period? If there was, then you say, who else is my market? Who else is my market? Because during the COVID, production would have been constrained by so many other things, either movement of raw materials and even movement between countries.
Yeah.
Now, after this, there's and with the free trade, it's now opening the doors. It's now opening the doors. If you look at it in Africa, the food supply, you look at the agricultural sector, it's one easy thing that most African countries have learned to take off from. But if you look at statistics, we are told that the most hungry people is Africa. Now, the question is, how do we close such a gap?
Yeah.
The takeoff point is therefore where we realize that we can rely on each other as African countries. If you look at it as Botswana here, this is where we should be saying we are centrally located in the SADC. Can't we even be a base? If we are a base, the question would be, are we a base for even dry ports? If we are a base for dry ports, do we have the means to go to easily supply some of the countries? If you look at our population, we are just 2.3 million. If you focus on the 2.3 million, the immediate thing is that there is no market because it will be saturated overnight, which then gives rise to our linkages. This is immediately where we see. At the same time, you look at it, what is it that we are not able to produce? That's what will come from other countries. So yes, we immediately see the role in this. Already, we have some of our samples in Zambia and in Namibia in the form of the sanitary amenities, which we started producing at an exponential rate during the COVID. That's an opportunity. Question now is, what else?
I love that. What else? So now, what is your, I think, I'll say call to action. What do you want other African countries or even the AU to do in order to really implement the Africa Free Trade Agreement on Botswana's side?
This is a very important question, because if you look at it, the free trade document itself, it demonstrates the political will for our leaders. But then, as technocrats, as participants also in the industry, in the private sector, in the entrepreneurship sector, we need to be saying, how do we operationalize this? And this is where we need to be able to look at the comparative advantages of different countries. If we are not going to do that, the immediate thing is hooting. And hooting creates the big brother aspect. And then it will nullify a very noble idea like this agreement. But where you identify at least the comparative advantages, and then you are able to draw the value chains, such that if someone is doing whatever the other one is able to do, the other one is able to, immediately you see the need to link. That would operationalize that. The last aspect that probably, or the other aspect that one needs to look at, it's now the movement. The movement. It's very key to emphasize that before goods move, people move. How facilitating are we for the movement within Africa? If we cannot do that, forget about any good moving between countries, because a person moves first, then the goods follow. It's very key, and we need to start somewhere. This is where also, if we say, look at Botswana again, taking the fact that at least we are centrally located here. The question would be, do we see ourselves as a transit route? If we are a transit route, how are we facilitating the north side to the south side to the north side, the west to the east to the west? So do we have borders, key borders, 24-hour operating, not to disturb business? These days, businesses, they run 24/7. Private sector or the entrepreneurs also. Because I've been part of the conference, I picked some aspects that we need to look into. We are still talking of government or governments. They've agreed. Did we expect them to go into the nitty-gritties of saying, now sell your toilet paper this way, sell your leather this way? No.
It's now coming back
It's now coming back to us. But if we are going to be saying governments are not doing 1, 2, 3, 4, we seem now to be looking for someone to blame for now our inefficiencies.
When it hasn't even started.
When it has not even started. So let's not even start looking at what the governments should do. They've done enough. That's a high-level demonstration of political will.
I love that point, because conversations were about political will. We are talking about something that government came up with, and they have left us. But now you are mentioning something important, that no. This piece of paper or the project is what it is.
This is where you may be saying, oh, we think our political leaders left this door still closed. Can we go back to them and raise the issues where they are still? Now, before it takes off, we are already saying political will.
Political will.
If there was no political will they not have, will refuse to even sign?
Yeah.
So they came up with this because they see the need. And therefore, let's implement where we encounter some hurdles, some impediments. We come back, they will be there again. We raise it with them. We say, open that border. Please, let's have that railway line. Let's have that road that goes. Let's have the e-governments working business to business. That's the conversation we should be having, not who to blame.